There are some songs that become more than music. They become memories, milestones, and a soundtrack to different chapters of our lives. That is exactly why seeing Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson perform The Spirit of Radio again during the 50-something tour felt so emotional for so many fans. From the moment the familiar opening notes rang through the venue, you could feel the excitement in the crowd. This wasn't just another song in a setlist. This was one of the defining tracks in Rush history being brought back to life by two musicians who helped create its legacy. After so many years, there was something powerful about seeing Geddy and Alex standing on stage together, performing a song that has meant so much to generations of fans. What do you think was going through their minds in that moment? Was it nostalgia? Pride? Gratitude? Imagine looking out into a crowd filled with people who have loved your music for decades and hearing them sing every word back to you. And what about you? Where were you when you first heard The Spirit of Radio? Does this song remind you of a particular time in your life? Let me know in the comments, because this performance felt like more than a concert moment. It felt like a celebration of everything Rush has accomplished over the last 5 decades. The energy in the room was undeniable, and as the song continued, it became clear that this was going to be one of the most talked about moments of the entire 50-something tour. As the performance of The Spirit of Radio continued, what stood out most was how alive everything still felt. Even after decades, the song didn't sound like something from the past. It sounded present, urgent, and full of energy. Geddy Lee's vocals carried that familiar tone that fans instantly recognize, while Alex Lifeson's guitar work still had that sharp, expressive edge that made the original recording so iconic. The crowd reaction said everything. People weren't just watching, they were participating. Every beat, every transition, every familiar phrase from the song triggered a wave of excitement through the audience. It was the kind of moment where strangers become connected through shared memory, all reacting at the same time to music that has lived in their lives for years. There's something deeply emotional about seeing musicians return to a piece of their own history. It raises a question: what does it feel like to step back into a song that helped define your career? Do you approach it differently after all these years, or does muscle memory take over and bring you right back to the original spirit of the performance? And for the fans watching, how did it feel for you? Did this version hit differently compared to the original live performances you may have seen years ago or watched online? Or did it feel exactly like the Rush you remember? Moments like this remind us why certain songs never lose their power. They don't just belong to the band anymore, they belong to everyone who has ever connected with them. What makes this performance of The Spirit of Radio even more meaningful is the weight of time behind it. This is not just a song being replayed on stage. It is a piece of musical history being revisited with full awareness of everything that has happened since its release. That awareness gives every note a deeper emotional layer. When Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson perform it now, you can sense the respect they have for what the song has become. It is no longer just a track from an album. It has become a symbol of Rush's identity and influence. And seeing it performed live again during the 50-something tour makes fans reflect on how far both the band and the audience have come together over the years. One of the most powerful parts of the moment is the shared silence between the loud reactions. Those brief pauses where the crowd is simply absorbing what they are witnessing. In those seconds, it becomes clear that everyone in the venue understands they are part of something rare, something that cannot be recreated outside that exact moment. So I want to ask you, did this performance make you emotional in any way? Did it remind you of a younger version of yourself discovering Rush for the first time? And if you had to describe this live version in one word, what would it be? Because sometimes music doesn't need to change to stay powerful. Sometimes it just needs to be heard again at the right time by the right people in the right place. As The Spirit of Radio reached its final stretch, the atmosphere felt almost unreal. There's always something special about the closing moments of a legendary song performed live, but this one carried an extra layer of emotion. It felt like the crowd knew they were witnessing something that would stay with them long after the lights went down. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson delivered the ending with a kind of calm confidence that only comes from decades of experience. There was no rush, no unnecessary showmanship, just pure connection between the musicians and the music itself. And that simplicity is exactly what made it so powerful. It reminded everyone that sometimes the greatest impact comes from just letting the song speak for itself. The audience response said it all. The cheers weren't just loud, they were filled with recognition, gratitude, and nostalgia all at once. It was as if everyone in the venue understood they had just shared in a moment that belongs in Rush history. And now I want to hear from you. Did this performance feel like a celebration of everything Rush has achieved? Or did it feel more like a personal memory being brought back to life? Which part of the spirit of radio hit you the hardest during this live version? For many fans, moments like this are rare reminders of why live music matters so much. It is not just about hearing songs again, it is about feeling them again, together, in real time. If this performance moved you in any way, share your thoughts. Because when music like this is played, it doesn't end when the last note fades. It continues in every person who was there to experience it.